Throughout the past couple hundred years, three things have remained constant. The U.S. being the greatest country on earth, competition between peoples, and Hardee's having the best chicken tenders of all time. Now, of course, over the past century and a half, we have introduced more sports such as basketball and football. But what if I were to tell you that there is a new type of sport that'll knock those completely out of contention? I'm, of course, talking about esports, the newest sport that's here to stay. Now, I know you're asking, but what are esports? Esports are tournament-style video games that can be played in multiplayer or single player. Single player titles such as Super Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart, and multiplayer titles such as Team Fortress 2, Rainbow Six Siege, Call of Duty, all that jazz. Now, the first video game tournament was held at Stanford University. Well, they were playing an experimental game on experimental computers. But the first notable video game tournament was held in 1980. In this tournament, they were playing the game Space Invaders, in which they had over 10,000 participants, which was a world record at the time for any get-together of people playing one game. Now, as the 80s rolled on, video games such as Pac-Man and Super Mario became more commonplace amongst competitive gamers, but it wasn't until the 1990s in which a game called Quake 1 really grasped the attention of competitive video gamers throughout the country and the world. Now, in 1997, the Red Annihilation tournament for the former famous Quake game was held, which drew in about 2,000 participants. This tournament is widely regarded as one of the first big esports tournaments that had a prize, because the winner of the tournament was going to get John Cormack, who was the lead developer of the game they were playing. They were going to get his Ferrari as the grand prize. And after this tournament, the first leading major gaming league, Cyber Athlete Professional League, was formed, and they held their first tournament later that year. The CPL was one of the more prominent leagues until the major esports corporations really started to dig in. Now, I know your question right now is, well, who's super good at these games? What country is the lead dominator? Is it obviously the U.S.? No, it's the South Koreans. They are extremely good at video games for whatever reason. Now, another group of people that are really good at video games are the Europeans and the South Americans. Both of these groups of people are very good at FPS games such as Rainbow Six Siege and Call of Duty. So much so in that North America has very few teams making it to the finals of whatever tournament or league play or whatever's going on, while Europe and South America can have 4, 5, 6 teams from each side going. Now, some of the most notable Rainbow Six Siege teams and other esports teams are G2 Esports, which is based in Europe. Evil Geniuses, which is a North American team, one of the few North American teams to repeatedly make finals for Rainbow Six Siege or whatever game they're playing. FaZe obviously makes it a lot. They're North American. Everyone knows FaZe. And Mocket Esports, which is a European-based team. All of these teams are just really good. Now, while a lot of people may argue that, like traditional sports like football, soccer, basketball are still the most popular, and to that I agree, I'm just here to say that while esports 20 years ago was just a fledgling amongst, giants, today they are growing to be one of the fastest growing sports and or sports types or competition types that the world has come to see. And that it should not be taken lightly because it may or may not be one day everyone's playing video games instead of playing football, baseball, basketball, whatever. All in all, esports has gone from being a bunch of nerds in their basement playing Atari games on a 12-inch TV to a group of nerds out on a stage playing better video games on better screens with better stuff, with better fans. So I'd say the rise of esports has not only been a successful rise, but is still having success. It will keep having success until something knocks it off the ladder.